This is why I like the idea to bring women aboard, because there's a few things that I don't understand how you guys are not up in arms about this. One of them is, to me, how society is reducing women to what somebody wears and how they feel. We basically have a guy that's been crowned Miss Netherlands 2023 that will be competing with women in South America in October.
For them to feel so abrasive that I can just wear makeup, a wig, and a dress, and now I'm a woman. That has been a long time coming. This wouldn't have never have happened or even been able to happen without the support of women.
We as men have allowed the chaos. If we just spoke up and said, you lose your mind. We're at that point now, like, men can't say nothing. We're too toxic.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
Welcome to the Nico Lagan Show. I'm your host, Nico Lagan. And today I got something special for you. We are introducing a couples podcast starting today. Every week you will see the four of us speak about things that will probably piss you off, but you know what, this is what we do best. So hey, we have the pleasure to have Tarek, Mary, Josie, and yours truly. What is going on?
Not much.
Oh, you're gonna have to speak a lot louder than that.
Oh,
Josie.
sorry. I don't speak loud.
I
I live with you. A lot is up. I live with you guys, so a lot is up. Shit that I have to deal with.
What's going on your side, guys?
Not much, just living life.
Yeah.
Staying out of the way.
Well, we don't want that. We want to take the space. That's the whole point of this, is to the whole point of this, the whole point Tarek and I are recording so much content is I truly believe that in order to stop what's going on right now, we need to stand up and start talking about it. For too long, we took a back seat because we're like, fuck this shit, I don't need to deal with this craziness. But now it is our fault that it has gone this far.
Yeah,
Yes, it's our fault.
We need to start talking about it. And this is why I like the idea that Tarek brought to bring women aboard, because I've been told many times that I'm mansplaining women. So how about we speak about women issues, because there's a few things that I don't understand how you guys are not up in arms about this, that you're not more vocal, more pissed off about all of this. So hopefully I can piss you off a bit today so that we can start something, because this needs to change. There's a lot of things that needs to change, and one of them is, to me, how society is reducing women to what somebody wears and how they feel. That's it. This is what it is to be a woman today, and I really want to know how you guys feel about this. So to make sure I piss you off properly, I'm going to share my screen because I got some videos to piss you off. So let's start right there, and afterwards I want to have your opinion on what I'm going to show you. So listen to this and tell me, and afterwards I want to hear both of your opinions.
Miss Nederland 2000 is Ricky!
So as you can see, we basically have a guy that's been crowned Miss Netherlands 2023 that will be competing with women in South America in October, if I remember correctly, for the crown of Miss Universe. Mary, how do you feel about this?
Don't get me started.
Yeah, there we go.
I think at this point that we are now, as you mentioned before, this is a long time coming. For them to feel so abrasive that I can just wear makeup, a wig, and a dress, and now I'm a woman. That has been a long time coming. We've let a lot of stuff slide under the radar. this wouldn't have never have happened or even been able to happen without the support of women. Women are their biggest champions. It's sickening, to say the least. It's very sick that they believe and have been allowed to believe that all it takes to be a woman is a wig, makeup, and a dress. And that's just not it.
Why do you think that is? Why do you guys are allowing it? Because as you say, I agree with you. I didn't want to clap to cut you off, but why do you think that women, and especially feminists, it's ironic that feminists are all for this when I'm supposedly oppressing, as a man, especially as a white guy, I'm oppressing women today, but they allow white guys to become women by wearing a dress. Why is it, do you think, that they don't understand what's going on?
Feminists, when you talk about feminists, they want to be men anyway. So they're looking for their substitute. So they're happy to see this because the majority of feminists even if they're not lesbian, they have lesbian traits where they want to be a man. So they're happy with the switch. I think you can't say anything in opposition against it because then you're deemed as a hate monger. And I think that's when people begin to be quiet. Very sickening. I'm not for it because it takes much more to be a woman than wearing a wig, a dress, and makeup. But I think it's been a long time coming. The whole feminist movement, when it began in something like the 70s or late 60s or whatever, began as women saying that they were oppressed by men and weren't allowed to do certain things, which was just a falsity in its own.
You know, it started back almost more than 100 years ago, right? With the right to vote after the Second World War. Women wanted to be able to vote, which I don't think there's a man out there, at least in North America, that's going to do that. And as you're talking about in the 50s, 60s, there was the movement, the second wave of feminism, if you will, where I like to say that it's like being equal in the face of the law, having the same rights as men do. They wanted, because after the Second World War, obviously during the first two wars, women replaced men in industries. They started working outside the home, and women wanted to be able to continue that once the men came back, right? Because they grew accustomed, they like it. And again, I don't think there's a lot of men out there that will disagree that women should be allowed outside of the home and being able to work. Right? There's not a lot of men that will say that want to live through the night that will admit to that. But
and I think also it's a bunch of crap because women want to work, of course, but we only want to do certain things. You know, when it comes to the real stuff, we still wait for the man. You know, when you look at your women, your female police officers and your female firefighters, they still wait for the man to show up. You know, they're not going in first. They're waiting for backup. So it's still a bunch of crap. It's garbage.
It's the same reason why 95% of the 20th most dangerous jobs on the planet are done by men.
Exactly.
And you know what's interesting is that the men don't necessarily do it because they want to. We just understand that it is one of our duties as a man to be providers. And the riskier the job, the more money you're going to make. And we tend to be more aggressive, more risk taker. We will take more chances. But at the end of the day, it is part of our DNA to provide for the people that we love. We will do a job we hate for 30 years just so that our family don't have to go through at least the least hardship possible. We will take that upon ourselves in order to do it. Why do you think that today things like that are being disrespected by women? Because women today are basically saying that men like me that are masculine, and I'm not saying Tarek is not, it's just I'm not talking. I don't want a white guy to be talking for a black guy because I'm going to be racist on top of this. So, yeah, exactly. So I don't want to assume that Tarek is manly. I know he is, but I don't want to assume it. But why do you think that women have the false belief that men that are masculine are actually toxic? Where do you think that comes from?
Oh, women have been allowed to live in delusional land. And it has been cultivated also by men. Men have allowed women to live there in that space of delusion. And that's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, when it gets tough and it gets hard, how many women do you see? How many women do you see transitioning to be a man?
None.
Zero.
That's how much. Yeah, that's
Zero.
how much.
That was
Women are not becoming men.
no.
No. Why would we?
Too high. No way. We get to pop out as women. No way.
Absolutely. I'm fine being where I am and born the way I am. You can take on everything. Like, sorry, but not sorry.
Exactly.
It's always interesting how the most feminist woman, when shit hits the fan, the first thing she does is look for a man.
She looks for help, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Comes in the form of a man.
Yep.
It's ironic that we let women, or this is the irony of it all, I find, because if you look at the third wave of feminism, which I like to call it, like the Me Too movement.
The third wave. Oh.
Well, there's technically, history-wise, there's three. People argue that there might be four, but since the 90s, it's the third wave of feminism, and it's becoming really the replacement of a perceived patriarchy by a matriarchy. And the Me Too movement is the perfect example of this attempt at replacing men, or at least castrating men on a daily basis to a point where we're being feminized. We're expected to become feminine.
We want you to be masculine, be in touch with your emotion.
Come on, Tarek. Let's cry together, Tarek.
That's right. We want to be transformers.
Be masculine but not aggressive, so that your masculinity is not toxic.
Right.
Well, this is a question I've asked Josie in the past, and I'm going to ask it to you when it comes to the relationship with you and Tarek. How would you feel if Tarek was as emotional as you are?
Oh, absolutely not. It will blow up in flames.
We'd be in trouble.
My emotions change by the day.
Same.
You're
Same.
And Tarek,
an emotional man is a weak man, so that is absolutely unacceptable.
Not only is he weak, he's easily controllable.
Yeah.
See, I try to explain that to people, and people hate this when I say this, but
that is insane.
If I can use words to make you lose control of your emotion, that means I can control you.
Yeah.
I can control you like this. I can just say, you know what, bro, you're a bitch.
Right.
And that's it. Pow! You are now a bitch. It's magic. Like, it's really magical.
We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be the same. And
what do you feel about this expression? Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find out. Well, technically it shouldn't be, because we're meant to be polarizing. We're meant to be on two complete sides, like two opposite of the spectrum, and to polarize each other. We do not complete each other, but we complement each other.
Right.
And this, what do you think about the concept that women nowadays don't understand, or are being shown or indoctrinated in school to believe that they should spend their 20s going after their careers, they should spend most of their 30s going after their careers because they can have kids whenever the fuck they want because they're like men nowadays?
It's not true.
We were just talking about this.
We were just talking about that, because it's delusion. It's not true. As we grow older, the ability to conceive begins to decline.
Right.
But women are again allowed to live in delusion land and say, oh, just do your whole phase from your 20s to your 30s, and then in your 30s there'll be this magical man that makes 6 figures and works out every day, and he's just waiting for you. His credit score is 800.
Of course.
He's already taken.
Right. And that's right. And by that time, you're fat, you're angry, you're mad, you got probably kids by whoever. Your debt, your outlook on life has changed. You are an angry, unattractive person. No, he doesn't want you.
He wants the 20-year-old that's still fertile and like who you can mold.
Yeah. That's what
But
you
this
should be looking
but this
for.
is what's interesting. It's exactly that. So I'm 41 years old. I would be, considered the top 5% of men. People don't understand this, but 95% of women compete for 5% for the top 5% of men.
Exactly.
So guys in my situation have a choice of whatever they want, and most guys my age want a woman that is fertile, want a woman that is younger.
Yeah.
And yet it's interesting how those young women are attracted by older guys, and this is totally normal. But I cannot be attracted by a 22. If I was a 41-year-old man, I marry a 22-year-old, I'm almost a pedophile. It's not age appropriate.
You're predator.
Right.
No way.
I'm a predator, exactly. I'm a predator, but not because of that. I can tell you that. But this is freaking interesting that we are really in a situation where we are so delusional.
It is.
And
Yeah.
and it's like mass hysteria. Like
It
we're
is.
to a point where it is becoming mass hysteria.
And whatever the media says goes. That's what they do.
I would say a lot of the problem is us. We as men have allowed the chaos. We've allowed it. If we just spoke up and said, "Hey, chick, you lose your mind," and sit down somewhere.
Right.
But we're at that point now. Like men can't say nothing. We're too
Aggressive.
toxic. It's like, okay, fine. All right, I'll go sit in the corner. You go and continue to think you can have babies at 60.
Right. And then what about what fathers are now telling their daughters? They're contributing to the delusion.
Well, fathers are not real fathers anymore. Fathers are not real men anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a complete different topic that I absolutely love to talk about. But all to say that even the men that are being fathers right now are not really real men. They were never taught to be men. They don't know what it takes to be a man. They can't teach, just like a single woman cannot teach a boy how to become a man. The men that we have today cannot teach their sons to become men.
But why do you think that is? Like, why? What changed in your generation? Let's say
it's simple. If you look throughout North American history, especially in the U.S., the best time you guys had was right after the Second World War, right after 1945. Your industries absolutely flourished. Men came back. You could own a house, feed your family on one single salary. The mother was taking care of the children at home and taking care of the house, and this was good. But one thing we need to understand: the guys that came back from the war were good men. They were strong men, but they did shit that they did not know how to deal with.
Right.
They came back with PTSD. They came back because there's a difference between me joining the army and saying I'm going to go in Afghanistan as a choice and say, you know what, this is my personal choice. Because if you look at the statistics, you're looking, as per Veterans Affairs, you're looking at less than 9% of men come back from the war with PTSD today. So if they go to Afghanistan, for example. So the amount, and I think the average amount for regular people is like 7%. So it's at that point it's 2%. So let's call it the same. But if you talk about the Second World War, you're talking about a man that was forced to go to war, that had to do stuff that, you know what they say, it's not what you're ordered to do that traumatizes you, but what you were asked to do that you just did for yourself. Yeah. So you have those guys that come back that are not necessarily all there anymore. Like there's something that was broken when they were back there. So they didn't necessarily raise their sons with all the love that they wanted.
Right. That's very
So the baby boomers, which are my parents, they're in their 60s.
Absolutely. Like our parents too.
60s to 80s type of deal. They went the complete opposite and say, you know what, I will not raise my kids like my father raised me.
Right.
So how are you supposed? So you're talking about a guy that raised his kids on virtues to say, I will do what needs to be done. A man is disposable. If you look through any war, any conflict throughout history, women and children are protected by men. And the first thing that dies is always the strong men that can. It's always the first casualties, right? And those guys understood that. If you talk to veterans, that there's not a lot of them that are still alive, if any, but they understood that. They understood they had to do their duty as a man, and that's what a man did. But the son or the mothers that were raised by those fathers, they don't see all the good that they've done for them.
Mm-hmm.
They only see the part where oh, see, my dad didn't love me, my dad didn't do this, my dad didn't show me enough affection, my dad didn't do this. So as they're having kids of themselves, they're completely forgetting the part that if it wasn't for their parents, if it wasn't for the way the father was, they would have never had the opportunities that they've had. They would have never become the person that they have. So they're basically spitting on what their parents are. They're disrespecting completely what their parents stood for. And now they're raising kids like me. Like my mother, I was raised by, my dad left, I was 14 years old. I was raised by a single mother afterwards. So who the fuck's supposed to teach me how to be a man? I had to learn this through a lot of mistake over the past 5 years. But that had to be learned. Nobody was there to teach me. So imagine that I don't have kids right now because I can tell you I was not ready to have kids. Now I am. But I was not ready to have kids back then because I did not feel that I would have been a good father. I was not ready to be a father because I will not raise kids. I will not raise children the way the children are being raised today. I completely refuse to do that. Now I dedicate my life to helping men being the men they should be for themselves, their family, and everybody, for their community, everybody around them. So this is the thing. So imagine that you have 2 generations of men now that were raised by men that did not know what it was to be a man. So they're just getting worse and worse and worse. And we're so far disconnected from rites of passages. Before, like, going to war is a rite of passage. For a boy that's 18 years old, saying, here's a gun, go defend your country, motherfucker. You don't think he's going to learn some shit? He's going to be around other hard men for 2, 3 years, 4 years, however long he was he was in the army for, but we don't have that anymore.
No, we don't.
Look at most military guys today. They're very conservative in their nature. Why do you think that is? Because the army was a massive rite of passage for them. Men are supposed to be around other men that will be hard on them to teach them that a man is not born, he is made. And he is made by being surrounded by other hard men that understands what it takes to be a man. And so, to answer your question, men are not raised by men anymore. They're raised by feminine men, or men that simply do not know what it takes to be a man. And 30% of boys right now are raised by single mothers.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
100% true.
But, you know, it's unfortunate because you see this all the time. Now, you're talking between 70 to 8, 1 and 2 marriages end up in divorce. 70 to 90% of the time, depending on the education level of the woman. 70% if you have a high school diploma, 9% if she's was that?
I would say, right, you're absolutely right. And I don't think a lot of people realize that the more education a woman attains, the more she determines that she does not need a man.
90%. If your college or university,
they don't want to be honest about it.
So basically, if half of weddings end up in divorce, that means that 40% of weddings are ended. Actually, it's closer to 45% of weddings are ended by a woman with a college or university degree.
Absolutely, 100% true.
Yeah.
But this is not. But this is not acceptable to say.
Yeah,
and you know. But the statistics are there. Just look at it. People repeat it all the time, but it's there.
Don't get married.
Statistics are racist.
Yes, yeah. You know what? Somehow I'm being racist. Yeah, you're right. You're white see. Yep, that is true. But the thing that baffles me, and this is why I really like Tarek's idea to have you guys on so that we can talk about similar stuff that Tarek and I are going to speak every day, but just from having a woman's perspective, because it is appalling to me that most women are, and I get this all the time, like every day on social media, I get called names upon names upon names.
So we can call names too.
Yes.
But I don't understand why women are not more for the fathers. Why do they use the father? Why do they use their kids as ammunition against their against their father when all they do is hurt the kid in the back end. Like they hurt the father, obviously, but they end up hurting their kids every single time.
Because there's always an out for us. So why, like, and I'm just saying generally, they'll use it. If there's an out, we'll use it. And it's unfortunate. Men get the back, like the short end of the stick, but women will use it because the system is in favor for women. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation. Do I agree with it? No. Do I think there should be some or a lot of changes? Rather, yeah, but it's because women have that out and they'll get that support. So why not go that route? No one stopped them yet, so why not continue? It's sad, but it's the truth, in my opinion. That's what I see. That's my truth to your answer, to answer your question.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I agree.
The system sucks.
We're always given a pass. I mean, women are killing their kids and giving a pass. You know, they're saying, had the father been there to help her, maybe she wouldn't have drowned little Johnny. And it's just like,
but
she's the one that divorced the father. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're the one that divorced the father. You're the one that prevented the father from seeing their kids. And now, if you weren't such a stupid cunt, your kids could be still alive.
Yeah.
But let's not say that out loud, because that means that it's accountability. Like, God bless accountability.
But
right?
no one values marriage either. That's where it's done. Like, I feel like that's where like no one really cares about marriage anymore. Like what it actually means too, right? Like it is. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's dangerous. It's for the man anyway. For the man.
Do women understand that it is extremely dangerous for a man to get married?
I don't think anyone really cares, unfortunately. I think people just see it. I feel like we're a society where it's me nowadays, and no one really cares about community or me what I can get out of it, and that stuff.
Is that how you feel too, Mary?
I do. I think people have become very selfish. You know, when I think about my grandparents, I know that my grandfather was no walk in the park to live with, and neither was my grandmother. But I think they realized the purpose of being married and staying married, just as we realize that our marriage is bigger than us. Our marriage is for our children. It's for our grandchildren to have one household to come to. It's for our family members and our loved ones to have one household to come to. Is to set a generational standard. And I think they're just selfish, and that's not how they look at it anymore. And it's like, the moment you get on my nerves, I want to file for divorce. I'm going to leave you. I'm done with you. And that's that.
Facts.
It is a major power struggle for men, because we do have everything to lose. Like, when you understand the statistics that 70 to 90% of women end divorces, 90% of those divorces, the kids end up with the woman, and in 40% of the cases, women get alimony. And right now, 95%.
Not to cut you off, but even if she makes more, she still gets alimony.
Which is
crazy.
Which is insane. That wasn't the purpose.
No.
But 95% of payments, of alimony payments, are made to women.
Yeah. And when the woman is supposed to pay, she doesn't pay, and no one holds her accountable.
No, there's no consequences. Absolutely not. There's zero consequences. I think 98% of women that accuse somebody falsely get no consequences for their actions. It's like 98 or 99%. That doesn't normally play out for men, but
you shouldn't be able to get divorced. There should be a law in place.
Right.
Like, just because of like your disagreements every once in a while, and it's hard, and you're on different paths. Like, get over yourself. You took a vow, stick with it, support each other, grow with each other. Unless there's something major like abuse, that stuff like that I could excuse, but divorce is not just because you don't feel like being in a relationship or there's differences. I think there should be like laws in place. There should be it should be more strict on reasons to why people get divorced. You
Right.
can't just get divorced because you feel like it, or because there are differences, or because of whatever ridiculous reason people are using nowadays. Like you, Mary, my family, my grandparents were not easy with each other. They sometimes did want to kill each other and wanted to. They took a breath, they regrouped, and they're like, we have a family, we need to grow
We have-
together. So yeah, like we have responsibilities. My parents, the same thing. Like, did they want to kill each other every once in a while? Probably, but they took vows, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor. Like, those were done in church and in front of a slew of people. So they dealt with it, and for us, they stayed. You know, like they showed us what strong relationships are. You just don't leave because things get tough. Then if you leave, if everything gets tough, then
you'd be running forever.
Right.
You know, this brings up an interesting question, and this is something I talk about all the time. Tarek, I know your stance on this, or at least I have an idea, but I'd be curious to hear about what you think, Mary. But do you believe that religion, because if you look at more traditional people, if you look at more people that would consider themselves Christian, they tend to be more traditional in their values. Do you think that one of the reasons that marriage are being desecrated the way they are today, how easy it is to spend 2 days with someone, go in Vegas, and then get divorced, it is because of a lack of virtues that religion used to teach?
That they used to teach, and I would say that they used to hold sacred. But when you start creating different Bibles and you start excusing certain behaviors, and you're saying, no, you can't say this because you need to not judge, without them realizing that discernment is very key. It's not just judging, you're using your discernment. I think once the religious leaders start excusing certain behaviors because maybe they were practicing it themselves, that they've allowed their followers to also do the same, and then it all goes downhill from there.
That's well said. That's well said. Because if you look at, I'm not the biggest fan of Andrew Tate, but I do agree with a lot of the things that he says. Not the way he delivers the message, but one of the things he talks about is the fact that he's Muslim because he believes that Christianity's gone soft.
It's
and he has a point, and he does have a point, right?
Yeah, he does, because now you can't even question people's behavior. You're not supposed to say anything when the man brings in his side kid, his wife, and his baby mama, and the baby mama's lesbian girlfriend, and they're all sitting on the front row. I thought we were supposed to be praying for them. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, realistically, if we really pay attention, right now everybody's celebrating Satan.
Yeah,
I mean, Hollywood's celebrating Satan. I mean, being a Satanist is the way to go in America. I mean, nobody's talking about, you talk about God, you're shunned. Like, oh no, off with your head.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I've had a bunch.
America was built on Christian values. Now it seems like it's built on Satan values. So I'm like, it's crazy.
If you look at our system of law, has been based on the 10 Commandments. Our justice system basically started off the 10 Commandments. It has evolved throughout the years, obviously, but this is the basis of the system of law in North America is based on the 10 Commandments. Nobody realized that anymore, but it is still a fact that the values that a book like the Bible teach is tremendous if you decide to live by the virtue that you can learn through those pages, right? And it's funny what you're saying, because I got my baptism tattooed on my head, and I've gotten so many comments to people to say my cross is upside down, that it's devilish. Because I got it. But this is the world that we live in right now. I got it tattooed for me. I don't care how it looks to other people. I never thought I'd get my hand tattoos because I can't hide it. It's like, and it's big, right? It's covering my whole hand. So, but people are saying, yeah, but it's not meant for that. It's meant to show others. But they don't realize what they're saying, and they're telling me that my cross is satanic because it is reversed.
They know best.
Because they see it like this. They're like, oh, that's satanic. I'm like, hey, motherfucker, I didn't get tattooed for you, man. I got tattooed for me.
Right.
But this is the world.
panic. I bet you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But this is the world that we live in right now. Is simply to say, Tarek, you're 100% bang on. If you look at Christian values, and even if you look just at religious values, we are living under the devil's rule.
Yes.
We are literally following everything that the Bible tells us not to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And we're celebrated for it. We not
Mhm.
only are we celebrated for it, but we are teaching our kids to look up to those people.
Yes.
And what's even worse is spreading.
It is.
Yeah.
Other countries are grabbing a hold of our values and things. It's like, don't follow after us. We're no good.
Right.
Just leave us alone.
Another way.
Don't follow after what we're doing. We're no good. Don't do it.
But you know what we were saying at the beginning, that if you look at the accountability that's required in order to call bullshit on yourself, this at the end of the day is what a book like the Bible does. It really gives you lines to follow, and you judge yourself as per those lines.
Mhm.
This is the direction we recommend that you follow, because it's been proven for thousands and thousands of years. But if you don't follow those lines, you're wrong. But we
Right.
can't say that to people anymore, because everybody's special, everybody's different, everybody's
Right.
deserves their special place on this planet, and we owe them everything. Yet
Right.
they don't respect themselves, right?
Exactly. And then there's a Bible that will align with their beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that they could go and find and say, no, look at my Bible, because it says homosexuality is love. Look here.
Right.
And it's like all these things are being created.
But you made a good point earlier that if you want to find something to follow, or if the leader that you follow, the religious leader you follow, is allowing for certain things that the Bible goes against, is to give him the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
interesting. I never thought about it this way, but that is a very good point.
Absolutely.
Because it makes sense. It makes 100% sense that somebody would want this to become normal, to normalize something, so that they can make sense of their own behavior.
Have you looked at the pastors that are accused of homosexuality?
I haven't seen anything. Well, not of late.
There was one just in Colorado.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very prevalent.
Right.
That they're constantly accused of homosexuality, and people like to throw it on the Catholics. Oh, it's the Catholics, you know, the altar boys. They're all, you know, little boys. No, it goes into Christianity too, and into the blacks. The blacks like to say that's for the whites, but no, it's the blacks too.
Yeah, we do it too.
You know, they're
Mother. Yeah, but that's probably because of us, right? It's learned behavior.
Everything is our fault.
You're just copying.
Right.
You're just
Everything.
copying us. That's it.
We'll take it.
You're just exactly. You are a victim of your environment, and unfortunately, because of white supremacy, we are forcing you to become homosexuals. You welcome. You fucking welcome.
Oh man.
But I gotta say, this conversation did not go the way. I had like 6 other videos all loaded up on my laptop. We did not needed them. No, but that's great, because at the end of the day, all I'm trying to do is to start a conversation, and I like where this is going. I think because this is something I'm a Christian guy. I have so much faith in people. Like, I have faith in myself, people, and God, and man, I think that this is lacking. I really think that there's a way to bring it back to a point where we can, I'd like to bring masculinity back to Christianity. I have faith. Unfortunately, I'm one of those that believe that it's possible. So unfortunately, it's
But it's just, I feel like it's just here in North America that we have this issue.
No, it's spreading.
I feel like it's prominently here. I don't know. Maybe it's. Oh God, you're killing me. I'm hopeful to go overseas and not have this problem to this extent. To this extent, I mean,
we were talking about this earlier. That men are to blame for a lot of problem in society in a way that we let it happen. We took a back seat and we just decided, you know what, I don't have to deal with this shit. This is not my problem. It will somehow, we wished it would fix itself. But yet there's one of my favorite sayings says that the only thing that he needs to win is for good men to do nothing. But you know, I really enjoyed where this conversation went.
It really didn't go where it started.
No, but I really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely something I'd be very interested in continuing. Like, this is very interesting to speak to another woman that would be more traditional in her values. We need, as a man, I can tell you that was one of the ideas behind this, at least one of mine, is to show for the men audience out there that there are still women that are traditional. There are still women that value masculinity. Yeah, but you guys need to talk. You guys need to be more out there. You guys need to be up front and center and be ready to talk about this, because you're gonna get a lot of heat for it because women don't like this shit.
They call us names all the time, Mammy. And I will say that a lot of people also think, until they see my husband, they think my husband's white. So of course I've been brainwashed by white supremacy, and I'm like, okay, he's black as the ace of spades, but whatever.
Yeah. I was a white guy in a black man's body.
Yeah, you're. Just so you know, behind your backs, we call that Oreos. You're black on the outside, white on the inside, motherfucker. This is all we do when you guys are not around. That's all we talk about.
Of course.
In our white supremacist meeting, that's all we talk about. That's all we talk about.
A lot of black people, you know, we were originally traditional. You know, we did not engage in a lot of things. We were if I would even go so far as to say, the original conservative Republicans. We didn't do certain things. We had values. We had strict values that did not align with what the mainstream society was, you know, having going on. But I would even go back to the other point where you were talking about men. The majority of judges are still men. When you enter a courtroom, it's a good chance that your judge is going to be a male. So I would agree too that they just let the ball drop, you know, and they just allowed us to be delusional.
But you know, I think we want to provide, we want to protect, so we tend to take a woman's, like, take a super simple example. You're down the highway, you see a woman on the side of the street with a problem with her car. I guarantee you 99% of men are going to stop to help. If you see a dude there, you're like,
we had even broken down to the type of person that would stop first.
Right.
Who did we say was at the top? Who's going to stop first?
Oh, the man, of course.
But what type of man? What race was he?
Oh, first would be a white man. White man's going to stop first. and then second would be a black man.
Right.
or maybe might even be last man. Might be a Hispanic man second.
Yeah. Well, technically, statistically,
we're probably the last of the men.
But statistically, it would make sense, because I think is 56% white in America, about 33% Hispanic, and I think it's 15-ish% is black. So technically, there should be statistically twice as many chances that a Spanish is gonna stop. So,
yeah, we're going to be last.
we're last.
First of all, we're going to be last because we don't. If we get caught helping another woman, we're going to be on the couch getting out the house. Oh, you want to help that woman? No, I was just trying to. I'm out the house. My clothes outside. My clothes on fire. My windows busted out.
Yeah, but why did you have to help her in the
So I was the very last.
That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah.
So with Polly Russell, that's how we knew she was lying.
All right, knew she was lying.
Oh, she would have ran over that white baby. F you, white baby. F you, white supremacist baby.
Right. Ridiculous.
But that's. Oh yeah, that's the time. I get that face all the time where she's just like, "What the fuck?"
I don't know.
Saying?
I don't know what to do with him sometimes. I'm just like, whatever. Like I chose to be with you, so I just gotta shut up and suck it up.
Don't feel bad. I'm trying to figure out how to do it to myself.
You know, the people that listen to what I say understand that it's called sarcasm. If you don't understand that it's sarcasm, go fuck yourself. I don't give a fuck. But if you don't understand, not my problem. Go change your Go change your tampon and leave me alone.
But at least she knows she's a volunteer, not a victim.
Right.
Oh,
hey.
I've been called a victim. Let me tell
there's-
you, there are people that are like, please blink if you need help in our videos in the comments, and it's like, are you crazy? Like, I want to be with this. This is to me, this is a man. Like, I want somebody that, you know, kind of have. I don't know if this is weird to say, but like traits that my father had. Like, I want a man. I don't want.
You want to feel safe.
Thank you. Yes.
Plus, I
but-
need to put it out there. She had to ask me permission first to blink.
Oh,
So let's establish that right now.
Yeah. He tells me what to do, when to do, how to do it. How I live my life.
You think I'm sitting behind my husband? That's where we belong.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus.
I'm trying to lead.
Yeah.
I'm in the back. I'm behind you.
Oh man.
You know,
Love it.
this has been very interesting.
I
I
love
really
it.
enjoy this. We've been going for about 46 minutes, so we're gonna rest it there. But I want to give you guys the opportunity to, if there's any words that you'd like to say at the end, is there? Because I know Tarek likes to do shout outs. So if you have a shout out to put out there, if there's something you want to finish on, please do so.
I'm not blinking. I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly. Mary, I give you even if Tarek doesn't agree, I give you the right to speak right now.
Oh, thank you so much. Any man can give me permission, you know.
Exactly. Plus, I'm a white man, so of course I can give you permission.
Even my own son, he can give me permission.
That's how it works.
That is
That's
how
how
it
it works.
Some countries that people have the audacity to believe that women are oppressed in this country when that kind of stuff. We joke about it, but it really does exist in other countries where a woman's son has authority over her, and he could be 12 years old. But you know, anyway. So, are we talking about last words of wisdom?
Anything. I like to, one of the things I always try to do in the recordings that I put out there is I like to address problems, but I always want to offer solutions too. It's not enough to just complain. We have to give people an opportunity to get better, or to at least try to make sense of what we spoke about. So if there's something that you want to put out there for piece of advice, maybe if you last words,
I do.
Whatever it might be.
I would like to say, for anyone that's in a relationship or that is married, especially if you have children and you are considering some type of separation, I would like for them to just write down what you have to offer. Write down what you give and write down what you receive, because sometimes when you write it on paper, it makes more sense and you can really see what's physically there and not the delusion that's in our mind. So writing, I would say, let's write more about what's really going on.
Okay.
I'm starting to understand, Tarek. I get it. I'm starting to get it. She's man, you need to speak more. We need to have you on. I think we need I'm thinking that you two should have your own podcast together and speak about these shit. We're gonna have to talk later on. This is brilliant what you just said.
Are you and Tarek making decisions for us and when?
100%. Well,
Okay.
100%.
I'm down for a podcast, but whatever
there's a
you
hierarchy.
boys want.
But there's a hierarchy here. I tell Tarek tells his wife.
Oh, that's right. He's a white man.
This is, let's respect the hierarchy here, woman.
Oh man.
Oh my God. God help me, Tarek. How do you deal with him on podcasts?
Hey, that's my brother, man. That's my brother. That's my new white brother.
You know, Tarek knows his place. I didn't even have to teach him. He was raised right.
I think I was. I think so.
No, he wasn't. That'll be next week.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So what do you have to say, Tarek? Is there something, because you need to follow your wife, which is not, you should have went first. now that I've heard what she had to say.
Yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm controlling my wife. I have toxic masculinity. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, you don't. You call me daddy.
Oh, she's a bit awkward about it, so she actually probably does.
Anyway, ladies, if you want to know what it's like to be a man, there's a song called out "To Be a Man" by Dax, D-A-X. It's the perfect song for you all that did not know what it feels like, what a man goes through. Go check the song out. Great song, great artist. He has songs about depression, alcoholism, all that good stuff. He talks about a lot of stuff. So if you want to know what it feels like to be a man, what a man goes through, go check his song. It's called "To Be a Man" on YouTube, and his name is D-A-X, Dax. So check it out. And that's it. So what's that?
I have to go now after them.
You should have went first, then.
Shit. I have the only thing I could say, and I'm gonna piggyback on the relationship thing. Just because for the women, pick a man for a man. He has a head on his shoulders. Don't go for like the club guys. Like stop with that. Like get a man early on, find him, get married, have kids, like build a relationship, because there's nothing wrong with that. And anyone who says otherwise is probably the problem in society right now. That's my takeaway. Like, don't waste your money on alcohol and parties and clothes and designer shit. Like, get your head on straight.
Amen.
I agree.
Well said. You actually listened before the podcast. That's good. You learned your text. I
Learning.
appreciate that. I really, really appreciate it.
I really prepared for this one. I was like, I gotta step it up because got some standards over here.
She's starting to listen. She's starting to listen. I love it.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna close it like I normally close it, just to say that the world has changed one man at a time, and it takes just one man to change the world. As you know, social media doesn't like opinions like mine. This is why I created my own platform where all of my uncensored podcasts can be found. For $4.99 a month, you get access to all my exclusive content, my private Facebook group, and much, much more. So make sure to go to nicolagan.com and register today.